Visionary Minds Public Relations and Media is a proud sponsor of CA Media Podcast. Be sure to get all your publicity, digital marketing, writing, media consulting services by emailing visionarymindsny@gmail.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the CA Media Podcast, the show that allows you to come in your own unique way. This podcast will be about my journey throughout my adult life. I will bring my friends, and there will be some episode in which I will be alone to speak about what's on my mind. Topics will range from society, culture, sports, relationships, and so much more. There's nothing off limits on the CA Media Podcast. So, as you come into my world to listen to my podcast, feel free to know that this is a safe space and a personal space to bring your family and friends to listen to the CA Media Podcast. So come and join this ride with me, and as always, this is the show that allows you to come in your most unique, authentic way. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the CA Media Podcast, the show that allows you to come in your own unique way. I am your host, Clyde Anderson, and today I have Serena Jackson on, as she will come in her own unique way. The show is brought to you by Visionary Minds, Public Relations and Media. If you have any media consultations or inquiries, you can please contact Tammy Reese at visionarymindsny@gmail.com. And she would gladly get in contact with you. Today we have Serena Jackson on as we spotlight her and what she do for the community of Syracuse. Serena Jackson, welcome to
Thank
the show.
you. Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. As Clyde said, I am Serena K. Jackson, and I am born and raised in Syracuse. I've left and come back and left and come back again, but Syracuse is my home, and many people know my face from all of the avenues that I kind of venture in and venture through.
Yes,
So that's me.
That's you.
Me in a nutshell.
So let's talk a little bit about your background. You know, living in Syracuse. Like, how was like some of your upbringing towards you being an adult?
Okay. So I am the oldest of 6 siblings. Because my parents were young, I am a product of young parents. So a lot of my influence and raising has come from my grandparents also, who had a very heavy hand in bringing me up. I've come through the Syracuse City School District, graduated from Corcoran, and I'm a member of Tucker Missionary Baptist Church, where I've been there for all of my life. And for those that really, really know me, and now everybody else will know me, I also used to go to Gospel Temple because, as I mentioned, my grandmothers had a heavy hand in raising me. So one of my grandmothers went to Tucker, one of my grandmothers went to Gospel Temple. So I, in my early years, have both. So I'm kind of like Baptist Kojic.
I guess that's a new saying. I never heard
Yeah,
that.
Baptist Kojic. And I guess I lean more to the Baptist side because my rhythm isn't as Kojic-y as the rest. But nonetheless, both places, both entities and backgrounds help build who I am and what I do. In I'll say my professional life, I've worked over 15 years in human service with the bulk of it. I worked with individuals with disabilities. I started as working in the workshops in their job settings, to running homes, to running day programs, to writing goals, to being a regional trainer, and then I was a New York State trainer. short stint as a director of residential. Then I moved and was a regional director in Ohio for a little bit, still within the field, and moved back home. And I am still in the human service field, but now I work with the aging population.
Okay. Amazing. So, all right, go a little bit back.
Okay.
You said you a little bit church. Um, you said you grew up in Gospel Temple. That's Pastor Lord, right? When you was there, right?
It was sales when I was
Oh,
there.
oh, I,
Yeah, it was a long time
I,
ago.
I
I'm a
wouldn't.
little I'm a little oldish.
I would not know. All I know since because I was in Syracuse for like 15 years, and like all I knew then, I think it was Reverend Lord. That's all I
Yeah,
knew. Yeah. That's
yeah.
yeah. That, so
So I
I
was
don't.
there with sales before Loic was in a position he was in. So yeah, Reverend Sills was a pastor when I was going to both spots.
Okay. I know you said some of your career journeys in human services. Um, it's like most of the stuff it sounds like something I do currently.
Hmm.
Because I am like I work for the state. I am a rehabilitation specialist. Something like that you did, like writing goals,
Hmm.
plans. How was it?
Yep, QIDP. So
Yes, correct. You have to have a bachelor's for
yes,
that now. Well, yeah.
yes.
Uh,
Yeah, so I yeah, I got in the field. I had already had my bachelor's, and I was it was called a voc specialist when I started work writing goals for those that were in the workshop for them to succeed. And then as I moved over into residential, I'm not sure how the credentialing and everything all that happened, but um, to write goals, or to, I should say, you can write them, but for them to be signed and qualified, you have to be a QIDP, and a bachelor degree is what qualifies you to be that person. So it's, what is it? Qualified intellectual disability professional. I believe that's what the acronym is. And it qualifies you to be able to sign off on goals. So did that, had extensive training within my first company I was at for 8 years. We got some pretty good training on how to write goals, smart goals. And as you're writing goals, you just learn the tricks of the trade, and you learn how to write goals that are not dead end goals. You learn how to write goals that will show and actually capture the growth in someone, and you want to write goals that set them up for success. So if you know somebody cannot walk, you're not going to write a goal to have them walk 50 feet.
right. Absolutely. Make it make sense. Like,
You know, you got to be smart about the goals, and I can absolutely say that, coming behind some people and having to write goals and update goals, you see some goals and you're like, "Oh,
yeah, that.
okay. Yep."
I
And you're
I could.
like, "Wait,
Who written
what?"
this? Yes.
Right.
Like I came behind someone. It was like a hot mess, and it was like, why some of the goals, like the staff action, is based off like what you currently do outside of here. Like, make that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
and you was only here for like 3 months. Like, so
Right.
I'm cleaning up all this mess, and since where I work at, they didn't have someone steady in the last like I guess 3 years. So I'm really trying to clean up what I can at the time that I have left. And it's like
Yeah.
this is a
Yeah.
hot mess. But
Yeah.
I guess my supervisor had enough faith in me because she vouched for me to get transferred down there.
Nice.
And my other supervisors up, upstate at the time. So I'm like, I really vouched for me to do this and be in position to like run the show. And then the house I'm working at is like very different, I would say. I like it. I like the environment. like I could thrive in a chaotic environment, just leave me be, and I could just do everything by myself. But if I need questions answered, I know how to like maneuver and reach out to people because I think that's what I do best. I think I work better when the pressure is on than like there's no real pressure and I can fall all the way back. But when it's like under pressure, when it's time is ticking, you need stuff done. For some weird reason, I feel like I thrive better in those situations, and I guess taking that house at that time was like, all right, let's see what Clyde can really do.
Mhm. I think it's really the life of a human service worker, especially in working with the developmentally disabled sector, where you
Correct.
just chaos is where you thrive because
Yes.
it's so reactive. Like you cannot go in there, and that's one of the things that I learned early on in my career because I'm someone, as much as I go with the flow, when it's related to my work and everything, I have to have a plan. And, even in normal life, things have to make sense for me so that it'll click. And first getting in the field, it was hard. It was hard for a few reasons. Just being in the field and just learning it. Like I've been exposed to it. My aunt worked in the field before, for all of her life, and her individuals, she would bring them to some of the family gatherings and stuff. So I've always been immersed and I've gone to work with her, but actually working in the field and trying to navigate what can I do, what can I do, until you actually learn that our guys are people too, and those that don't know it and don't work in a field, they see their disability as something and not looking at it. It's just an ability that they have. And if they crack a joke at you, they gonna laugh, just like if you crack a joke at them, you're gonna laugh. But when you first get in it, you are so terrified because QA puts the fear of God in you, like, oh, that could be abuse. And you're like, but I just chuckled. So, getting in it, certainly nervous. And then the other part, going back to what we were just saying, is because learning that it's a reactive field is hard to navigate through. And like I almost quit. My aunt, she said to me, I went to her office one day and I'm just like, I just don't understand because I had to write some goals and they told me, because the auditors came, and it was, okay, we had to write the goals this way. Okay, fine. So all the way that I wrote the goals, I had to change it to how they wanted them written. All right, no problem. Wrote the goals how they supposed to have been written. They made it through a year. Another auditor came and said, basically the way that I wrote them before was right. And it was just one of those things that I'm like, I don't get it. Like I'm ready to go. And my aunt, she straight up was like, listen, either you're gonna do it or you're not. I was like, oh, she's like, either you're going to do it or you're not. And you got to learn that within this field, it's always moving, it's always going. And if you can't keep up, then don't do it. And her saying that, it was like, it just clicked like, oh, this is how I play the game. And I hate to call it like that, but knowing that now I'm not in a field that's proactive. I can be a little bit proactive, but I couldn't put things in place and expect for them to stay that way. I had to, that's what developed me to work in the pivot. That's what I call it. I work in a pivot really well because of all of the fires and all of the ways I had to move and change and how I do things. So yeah, it's definitely, this field is not for the weak, but if you stay, it certainly builds you for other aspects in your life, especially if you choose to move up and move on in different places and even different roles that might be outside of that.
Yeah, I'm totally agree with you 100%. Not because I'm in the field or I'm currently doing what I'm doing. Like there were several times, like I've been in this field particularly 6 years, and there's a couple of times I was about to quit. There was a time where I think the TTL was like, "Clyde, you're not gonna make it past your traineeship." I'm like, while she was giving me a 2 hour lecture, pipe bomb, whatever she was giving me, and I'm like, all right, bet, bet. So like, I guess she retired the year after. I'm like, I went to her office like the day of her retirement, like, yo, I'm still here, like
Yeah.
XYZ, and then she was like, I bet you can't be a DA3. I'm like, who said anything about me being a DA3? Like, who's creating this stuff for you? Like, you're gone. You did your years. Retire. Enjoy retirement.
Yeah. Right.
Sit on the beach on an island, enjoying your island of relevancy. So
Right.
so
Right.
I'm and like you know, and then I decided to go to school during the pandemic, get my bachelor's degree, not knowing what I was getting my bachelor. Oh, I knew what I wanted my bachelor's degree in, but I didn't know what God had for me like for it. So doing that, and then after I got my degree, like 6 months later, became a DA1. So now I'm in leadership. Now I'm a supervisor, and then like 6 months after that, after my traineeship, I'm still in my traineeship. I get a promotion to be my current position, and that current position got me leaving upstate to be in New York City and run this house where a person has so much stroke to where they got contact with the commissioner. Like, what is this? Why you put me in this position, guy? Like, and like me and that person, great, but very rewarded, and it's like I did like the reason how I feel like I am in this position is because yes, one, I have a degree, and two, um, I've written stuff down that my bishop asked me in like 2017 or 2018, and thus one of the stuff was like have the flexibility to work a 9 to 5 job or 8 to 4:30, and to do what I like. And I fell in love with the job a little bit more this year because I have the flexibility,
Mhm.
and I enjoy like what I do. I find it like very rewarding. I feel that like um if I can help the individuals I'm serving to be the best that they can be, and not to use their quota, putting people first. I'm blessed, So
Mhm.
it's like you said, it's this position is very, you gotta be on your toes. They
Mhm.
want stuff now. You got to do what you got to do. Give them what they want so they can leave you alone. So,
I
so
I
like,
ran my homes very different. We had our boundaries and our rules, and and that's one of the things. But you learn it. You learn it. I burnt out. I did it 15 years.
yeah, I'm at year 6, and it's like I'm loving this, and it's like, yo, I want to move up, and I'm like, I can't. So, like, God has other things in store for me, so I have to like sometimes you gotta take that leap of faith and see where it goes.
Mhm.
Fortunately, this is that time I need to take that leap of faith, like I did in 2007, like I did 2024. Me going back to school in 2021 and being 30 and you know actually working part time and going to school full time and like on survival mode, like, and somehow the following year working full time, going to school full time, driving to Oswego at that, and then driving to Elbridge and driving back home to Liverpool. That's insanity.
Yeah, it
And
is. But you did it.
I wind up doing it, and I would do it again if I had to, like and like having a 3.16 GPA in my 30s, and it's not this thing. It's not about me and what I've done. It's like it's a dedication, to the art of what we currently do. Like we love people, and our goal is to put people first. So, um, in reference to, I know you said you got burnt out.
Mhm.
What and you burned out? Where did that lead you to?
Um, it I had the signs of burnout before I even went to Ohio, and it was when I got back into residential. Residential is hard, and when I started in residential, especially like my daughter was young, and I spent a lot of time at work. I spent a lot of time missing, some of her performances at school, and she had to be a latchkey kid because guess what? I had to run the house because I had to take care of my home. It's been nights where I've had to leave her sleeping because I had to go because one of my individuals decided to fake a heart incident. And we all knew it, but because it was heart, and being in the emergency room overnight and just constantly being on call 24 hours, where, even if it was to the point that even when I wasn't on call, I still heard a phone ringing. And it was just the load in my first company that I was at. um I ran a couple houses with no assistant, and one of the homes that I ran had four separate apartments, and the state deems them each as their own home, so that's four sets of paperwork, and another apartment that I had to run, so five sets of paperwork to do, just doing it myself. Pulling the staff in as much as I could, but it just got hard, and just trying to maintain my household and trying to be there and be a good mom as I possibly can for my daughter. It was rough. And even while I was in the field, I got my master's. I wasn't in residential yet, though. I was in Volt, but I worked full time and I did my master's a year accelerated, that was insanity. But, doing all of that, and I just got burnt out, and then I moved to the QIDP role. I moved out of management and just did QIDP because I can write these goal plans, do these intakes, write these monthly summaries, and train who I need to train, and essentially be done at the end of the day. And that's something that I needed at that time because, like I said, I worked a lot and I was salary. So and I wasn't in a state entity.
Oh,
Yeah, I wasn't
different
state.
story.
So
Woo!
yeah. So I worked a lot and I just burnt out, and then I transitioned to another agency where I did day program, which was fine because it was Monday through Friday. I was done at 4 or 5, you know. Still was a lot of
No
work.
weekends, no,
Yep,
no
no
weekends.
weekends. I had on call maybe every 8 weeks because in the newer agency I was at, all of the supervisors rotated on call because it was small enough where everybody that was a manager had an on call shift for a week. So I may have been on call every 8 weeks, which was great coming from being on call quite often to every 8 weeks. And then I moved to the training role. And at the time, I felt like I did great. But, with COVID happening in the middle of it, and I was going up and down the states and they not knowing what direction they wanted to go in, it left instability, and I couldn't operate in instability because I had to take care of my daughter. And I knew the one place that was always going to be stable was going back to residential. And, of course, went back, and it was everything that I remembered it to be, putting out the fires. So, that's where all of that burnout came from. I think if I was able to stay in the training role, um, I probably still would be in the actual field. And you get older. I I'm a supervisor, I'm hands-on. I'm not gonna let my staff struggle, and me. I've gotten back injuries, I had a shoulder surgery, got hurt off an individual having a behavior, having to restrain them, individual moving before they were ready, trying to keep them safe. So it was like I I couldn't keep putting myself in that position because I'm not as young as I used to be. And it's not where my heart was because I was absolutely burnt out. I did my job and did it well. And if I had to go back to it, I could still do it. But yeah, the burnout is totally real.
So, after the burnout, where'd that leave you to? Going to interfaith, or did
So I had
you?
a I'm sorry. I had a, I was in Ohio and things just didn't work out and I moved back and I did a small stint at the Alzheimer's Association. And then from there that led me to Interfaith Works
Okay,
to being I'm the assistant director of volunteer programs in the Center for Healthy Aging. So we work to combat isolation and loneliness in our seniors.
all right,
Our aging
beautiful.
population, I should say. So it's still human service. It's just I'm just on the other side of it where everything isn't on fire.
Right. So, can you like share a memorable experience from your work in the aging population?
My work in the aging population. So my work now, um, all of it is becoming memorable. I've been in it in 2 years now. And getting in
Congratulations.
it. Thank you. And being in it, I wouldn't say that it's just one experience, but the experience of working with our seniors. And one of the programs that I oversee is a senior companion program. And just getting to know all of our companions and seeing their heart and what they want to do and how they want to help, and as well as them getting help, is definitely like, wow, like this is our why. This is why we do it. We're helping other people who are lonely, who they don't have family to come see them. um and we have other people who can get around, and just being companion to someone else and seeing how it is helping them too. Like we had one of our companions she started working because for that program she gets a very small stipend. And after a month she called us and said, I was finally able to buy a dishwasher. That was one of the things that she had wanted for a long time because she has a hard time in just doing what she does every day. We were, able to give her a little stipend, and just seeing how it's impacting our volunteers' lives and our clients' lives makes the whole thing memorable, the whole experience. And even within our facilities, one of my other programs, we go into the facilities with groups and, just individual people who want to volunteer to do the same thing, to provide companionship. And, there's a story of one of the residents who didn't like anybody. He was resistant to the whole thing. And now he's been with his visitor for 2 years.
Mm.
So it's things like that. And in this job has certainly opened me up to different things, different entities. When I first started, I got selected for our overall AmeriCorps. We do like a AmeriCorps convening every year, and they asked me to be on their panel. Like, oh, okay. I was only a few months in.
Right.
I've spoken in front of some of the Common Council and some of the other areas surrounding Syracuse. I've been a panelist on a respite council. I'm actually speaking the end of the month on the Alzheimer's
Association.
their their conference that they're having. I'm a panelist on that. And in June, I'm going to New Orleans at the Point of Light, which is a national conference for volunteers, where I was selected to present there. So,
Wow,
this job,
congratulations.
thank you. Thank you. This job has certainly opened me up to a lot of things. And, you you never understand, or you don't realize how much people think of you or see in you. Me, I just do my job and, do what I'm supposed to do. And I'm always, I'll say shocked for lack of a better term, but when people see things in me that I'm like, it's just regular. I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do, or what I'm led to do.
Right. Hey, so I know we talked about like some uh memorable experiences. How about what are some of your challenges that you face in your role, and how did you overcome them?
So the challenges that I have in my role currently, outside of the political atmosphere, is just really getting more volunteers.
Hmm.
Um, and it's an epidemic. It's all
Right, correct.
around, where everybody who works for volunteers, we kind of sing the same song, that we just, excuse me, we we need more volunteers to be able to bring life to more people. So that is definitely a struggle. And going out in the, I'm gonna call a spade, in the rural counties,
Hmm.
it's different when you're around people that don't look like you and
Correct.
don't understand you. That definitely makes it a struggle. Even though I'm coming with something that's free that can help your community, it's coming from me in some instances. And that's some of the things that I've experienced firsthand. And you hear about it, about it, but when you experience it firsthand, every time you experience it, it's like it's new all over again. Like, oh my gosh, like really, it's that serious. So
I'm sorry,
um
it broke up a little bit, but what did you say? I'm sorry.
oh, I don't know where I left off, but
I know you were saying it's coming from you, um, in reference to you being in a rural area.
oh, okay. So, oh, you didn't get none of that. All of that was good stuff. So, um, just saying, being out in the rural areas, and interacting with people that don't look like you, who aren't as acceptant, it's it can be a challenge. And experiencing it, and being a part of it, knowing that it happens. May have experienced it in different in
Forms.
different places, forms, but it's like every time it happens, it still takes you aback, like, wow. And now in the current political climate, it makes it a little more, there's a little more anxieties, at least on my end, that happens. um with God, I can do everything, and I have to keep reminding myself that. But there's some real anxieties that do happen, that definitely makes it challenging, because our rural communities need it most. They need
Right.
the volunteers and the interaction most, and just trying to get them to, understand it doesn't matter what I look like. I'm trying to bring you something and help everybody that I can.
Right. So, how do you like engage or like motivate volunteers in your programs?
Well, I go out, and in many instances I just take advantage of teachable moments and take advantage of moments, even when I'm not at work. Like I tell my staff, I'm always working even when I'm not. So, if I know of somebody, or I hear somebody who has who might need some respite, they might be a caregiver for their mom or dad or aunt or whatever, and I might say, hey, you think you might want a companion or something, just talk a little bit about the program. And then I send them to my staff, give my staff a call. They can, certainly help you. I had one interaction where, just talked to a person, and they were talking about, they're getting these headaches. They were their parents' caregiver, having headaches, and it was just like, you can ask for help. It's okay.
Hmm.
And guess what? I have an answer for you. So I just find little ways like that, and listen. I really listen to the people in my surroundings, and just kind of slide it in when I can. I get to learn and know my audience. And presentations, some groups might have me come in and have a few presentations that I do. I might just talk about what my programs do, or we have a presentation about aging. I just created a presentation about caregiving that I want to start giving, because knowing, especially in our communities, sometimes people don't even see themselves as caregivers because it's just what we do.
Right.
So that's how I work, the ways I work and solicit and just tap into my networks.
Do you think it's beneficial when you're working in reference to like outside of work, you're consistently working, but not know well, you know that you are mentally, but on a regular, like you're always thinking of someone to assist, someone to help, someone to give reference to.
It's just kind of how my brain works, and maybe it's been wired since I was in the other field.
Hmm.
But I've always wanted to help people. I always want to and wanted to help people. Like before I got in this field, I wanted to go to school to be a doctor. I wanted to do family practice. And then I saw surgery where I was like, maybe not that. And I went to school for, I wanted to be a physical therapist. I was a registered kinesiologist for a few years, and all of my credentials are related to exercise science. So I always wanted to help people get better. That was a thing. I want to help people get better. So even though, finding companionship is my job, but it also helps people get better. And I don't see it when I'm not clocked in. I don't see it as I'm working. I'm just helping people get better. If I can give you something, some type of relief, here's some resources. I've always been able to connect or link people to resources, even if I can't. Somebody might text and say, "Hey, Serena, somebody that sells red sleds," and I'm like, "You know what? I think I do. Let me, you know." So it's just in me always wanting to help people and make their life better. And yes, sometimes there is a toll because I don't shut it off. But it's just who I am.
Okay. Like, so what impact has like CNY ATD scholarship had on your professional development?
It just,
Or is
for
it
me,
something basic?
I wouldn't say it's something basic because everybody takes what they can. Getting that scholarship and taking place in that training, because it was a few-week training, taking place in that training, it just further solidified what I'm already doing and what I've already been doing. And
Mhm.
the CHTD is for trainers. It's for training development, being able to essentially, like a super presenter. I can train a trainer.
Okay.
So it's just another something. I don't want to diminish it. I'm not trying to diminish it, but for me, I already knew how to do the things, so it further
Yes.
solidified that I was doing and I am doing the right things.
Okay. Beautiful. So, like in your future, like how do you envision the future of elder care in your community in Syracuse, such in New York?
So the aging population isn't always talked about.
Correct.
Things are put in place and they forget those that are aging. And in one of my presentations, or when I present, I always say we're aging the moment we're born. And within our community, it's just hoping that people, when they make the decisions and when they make the laws and make the programs, that they have the aging population in mind, because at one point, if Lord sees fit, you're going to be there. And in our area, in our county, our boomers are booming. you
Basically.
know And it's more where we have more older people, more aging people in our area, and the things aren't, we have to do a better job of making sure that all age groups and all age ranges have something in place. There's things in place for the youth. There's things in place for the teens. There's some stuff in place for that mid age, but when it comes to age, it, as it goes up, it starts to decrease. So just really hoping and talking and continue to have the conversation, because if you're not in it, you don't think about it. And I can use myself as an example. I came from working with individuals with disabilities. I knew my guys aged, but I never sat and thought about it as a whole entity until I started working in the field, and realized that things are being put in place, and no one's really thinking about the aging population, because we have some that are aging that are still fully active and still can do. And listen, I went
Yeah.
to a Zoom class once, and it was this 80-year-old lady. I'm in the back of the class on the wall trying to grab my breath. And that lady was zooming all around, and she zoomed around me talking, okay, honey, you'll get it next time.
Mm-hmm. Yo, where I currently work at, this lady is in her, I would say, mid-90s, advocating for her daughter, literally walking every day. I'm like,
Right.
mess, probably relax for a day, But yeah, she's pushing and advocating like no other person I honestly have ever seen
Yeah,
advocated for their
I love
child
that.
ever. So it's like I respect that because like I don't know, I need her energy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. I see a lot of them. I do the same thing. Like, here I am. I'm fighting just to get up out of the bed and move. And yet you've already walked 5 miles, and it's only
exactly
6:30 a.m.
that part. Like seriously, that's what she. Yeah, that's what she does. I'm like, yo, how do you do this? Like,
Yeah.
give
Yeah.
me the secret sauce.
Please, please. My grandfather, he used to be one of those people out at the mall walking first thing in the morning. And every now and then he would stop when Sam's Club was there. He would do his walk, I think he did like 4 or 5 miles. I might be over in it, but he was in his 70s. And before I left work, I would wake up and come outside, and I got bananas and orange juice on my doorstep because grandpa went to Sam's, and it's wee early in the morning. So it's definitely, like, people need to just start, people that have a position or are in power and, are input that can make things, just start thinking about the aging population that are still active. Everybody that's older ain't just sitting on the couch. And it might mean like some might not even be ready to, they might have retired, because I see that a lot too. You have people that retire because they worked all their life, they retired for a few years and they're bored, and they still have their skills, but just because things have sped up a little bit or more, electronic, like, put some classes in place to help to teach them. And guess what? You might have another very good employee for the
Right.
next 6, 7 years, however.
Ain't lying about that. Um, not like what advice would you as a person give to someone who is looking to make a difference in their community in general? That's like one of the final questions like I have.
Okay. So one of the things, and what actually two things, and growing up, my grandmother's, you know, if you hold, and I hold these things to heart. It's a few sayings. One of them is, and it's in the Bible. You gotta love them, but you ain't really gotta like them. As long as you love them, you
Right.
care about them. But it's okay if you aren't too fond of them.
Of course.
But we have to love. And you know, treating people the way that we want to be treated. I, you know, that's one of the things that I definitely live my life on. I'll model to you and how I treat you, how I want to be treated back. And, you know, another thing, so it's three things. Another thing is my mom has always taught me that people teach you how to treat them. If you hold those things and those sayings and you keep reflecting and thinking on it, it helps you get through a little bit. It ain't gonna help all the things because there's gonna be some things that are gonna be tender to your heart and that are gonna, you know, affect you. But if you just think about those things in whatever order, or one might help you more than the other, you know, that's really the best advice that I can give anyone, because you know everybody, and knowing that we have to lead with grace. Everybody has a bad day, everybody
Of
has a
course.
bad moment, and you know we have to give grace, we have to be wise, but we, you know, we certainly have to look at the other aspect. You know, someone may walk in the office or walk in the building and they are teed off, but we don't know what just happened before they got in, and working to de-escalate it and give that little bit of grace to figure it out. Now if they keep doing the stuff, that's something different, but you know,
Right.
these one-off events, and you know, just always thinking and keeping those things, because people are going to people.
Amen. So, Serena, I thank you for sharing your story, sharing what you are, sharing this journey with us. There's like a small section of my podcast where I do like rapid fire questions. It's normally 2 minutes, give or take. Um, you ready?
Sure.
Sure. All right. Okay. All right. So, what's your favorite food that you like to eat?
Chicken wings.
I love chicken wings. Your favorite place that you traveled?
Oh, I don't really have one right now, but I would say it would be some island once I go.
Okay. What is your favorite restaurant in Syracuse?
It used to be Friendlies.
Okay.
Now, I would say, because it's only really only in our area, I'll say Tully's.
I like Tully's.
Tenders.
Yeah, of course. What is your favorite Bible verse?
Oh, I would have to say John 3:16.
Okay. Favorite gospel song?
Oh, I have a favorite.
Do I have a favorite gospel song?
No, I don't, because at some point in time, it changes out my mood.
All
I
right.
kind of like have a shuffle.
Okay, that's
Old
fair.
school though, definitely the old schools, like Hezekiah Walker, John P. Key, like the
Remember
old
Timothy
choir
Wright? Okay,
songs.
okay.
Yeah, Timothy
Yeah.
Wright. Yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
okay. Got you. Got you. Favorite musical artist?
I I Layla Hathaway,
Okay.
and I have a couple. Layla Hathaway and Usher, of course. I keep Usher in my pocket, and I do. I used to have like every high school girl, every teenage girl. But definitely, I like though. I like them.
All right. All right. If you have like one advice to give to someone that's watching, what would that advice would be?
Life is hard. It 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 life is certainly hard, and we just have to keep swimming. We just have to keep swimming. We have to keep pushing, um, because, but we'll get through it. With every storm. There certainly are sunny days.
Okay. Beautiful. Serena, thank you for this quick rapid fire questions. Would you like to leave your social media? Not your social security, your social media.
I left my social security to just be practice for people anyway. Let's see. I'll do my Instagram. It's sjax80, SJAX80 is my Instagram, my IG, or Serena K Jackson. I'm so original, just you search my name, you'll see my face.
It'll pop up. I'm a public figure.
Yep. With my little icon with me doing this, I got to change it now. Got to change it up.
Serena, it's been a pleasure and an honor and a privilege having you on the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to follow this podcast, you can follow me. I'll follow the podcast at Clients and CA Media Podcast. If you want to follow me personally, search me, Clients on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It's brand new Clyde. I don't know why I had a freeze. If you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, you can follow the link on my Instagram, hit the Linktree account, and fill out the form, and I'll get it. It's been, again, Serena, it's been a privilege, honor to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, again, this is Clay Ensign of the CA Media Podcast, the show that allows you to come in your own unique way. I'll catch y'all on the flip side. Later. Bye.
All right.
Thank you for listening to the CA Media Podcast, the show that allows you to come in your own unique way. I'm your host, Clay Ensign. To be a sponsor on the show or even to be a guest host, you can email me at clyensonmedia@gmail.com. To find more selections of this podcast, you can search us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Pandora. Furthermore, you can give us 5 stars, rate us, review us, follow us. In reference to our social media, you can follow me and on the podcast at CA Media __ on X, on Instagram, and on Facebook. Thank you for listening to the CA Media